ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined the show, we're just waiting for one more member to join us. That is Sabi from, I believe, is it Manchester? With us today, we
Almost over
have.
that way. It's Keithley. Keithley.
Okay, yeah, he's here. Sabi's here. Sabi,
Keith, Sabi.
tell him, Sabi, could you turn your phone landscape, please?
Landscape, yeah. What the issue last time? It's not going landscape, you know. Just had the same issue last time, but
okay, not to worry. Okay, we're here now. Unfortunately, Troy Howard and Nikki Blaze couldn't join us today.
okay.
So we've got the rest of everyone else. I'll just introduce everyone. We have TL from Blak Records. We have King Monk from the Hip Hop Historian. We have Sabi, who's just joined us all the way from Manchester. We have D Shy all the way from Birmingham. And we have Kaptain all the way from Wales.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Okay. Sabi's from Keithley, actually. Keithley. Keithley, Yorkshire.
Yeah.
He's from Yorkshire, right? But is he always in Manchester? I got him here in Manchester. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm from Yorkshire, but I work in Manchester anyway, you know, so it's okay. It's all okay.
Okay, that's good. So let me kick off. The purpose of today is to talk about the Hip Hop Historian Society, which was created by Monk One from Leeds. And also as well, we were supposed to have Troy, who was going to give us some insight on the new hip hop museum that's about to be built or constructed. So what I'll do, we'll just go around the panel and allow everyone to introduce themselves and what they do. All right. So let's start with Sabi Khan. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your involvement in hip hop has been over these years?
Yes, thank you so much. It's a great honor to meet you all. I've been in the music industry, especially the hip hop industry, for the past 30 years. Started off in 1996. I was doing like days, when I was at college, and slowly evolved in working with mainstream artists, commercial artists like the Black Eyed Peas, 50 Cent. And I've done over like 1,000 events across UK, Dubai, and New York. And now I'm working on a few hip hop movies as well, which are going to be shot in London and also in New York. So yeah, that's like a little brief history about me, and hopefully I'm going to be contributing quite a lot towards the hip hop museum as well, down in Leeds, and also towards London as well, with a lot of my memorabilia of my flyers and posters which I've been doing. So yeah, that's me there.
Okay, thank you very much, Sabi. And let's go. Let's move on. Let's now go to D Shy. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, what your involvement in hip hop has been, and anything else you can add to the table?
Okay, well, UK rapper D Shy. In a man's industry, I will say definitely, which has been hard over the years. I go back. My inspirations are like Sweet Tooth, MC Light, Salt and Pepper. Been drawn by Mona Love and all those great artists that have paved the way for us as the lady, the queens. And I've been involved with many of artists as SKO on some festivals hosting, signed to record label, Hip-Hop Records in the UK, sending distribution in America. Also, I do anchors in a lifetime and working a lot with music. And releasing my second album, and I've done 4 tracks and I'm releasing through in 2024. So hip hop for me has changed a lot, especially as a woman. We just got to get more feisty and we got to hold our ground, but not staying, notwithstanding. The men are in their own as well. But it has changed a lot. The sound, how it's delivered, how women are portrayed over these fields. So That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much there, Dee. Just want to check, can everybody hear everyone clearly? If you could all try to speak up as loud as you can, and if we can get a little bit of your shoulders in the video, that would help as well. Okay, moving on next to our guy, Kaptain, and Kaptain is all the way from Wales. Kaptain, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement in hip-hop?
Yeah, definitely. So I lived in a lot of different cities, from Birmingham to Bristol to London, but Cardiff's my hometown, and I moved here in the late 80s. Got involved with hip hop in the 90s, mainly just as a fan, connecting with the local hip hop scene here. In '99, I started a website called Enter the Dragon, which was all about Welsh hip hop, and then started DJing the same year. And then in 2000, started putting on a night called Higher Learning, which was a hip hop night here in Wales. We did that for about 12 years, helped kind of build the scene here in the 2000s. And then I was also rapping at the time, and also doing workshops with young people in prisons and youth centers, refugee centers, and things like that. Then in 2004, as a rapper, played Glastonbury Festival on the dance stage, and that kind of got me into festivals. So I ended up as head of music at Boomtown for 10 years, booking most of their live acts. And then last year, I got invited to apply for a job at the museum here in Wales. I'm Gregford Cymru, to coordinate a hip hop exhibition and also the collecting of hip hop artifacts from Wales. So building that within the museum, and yeah, and so I'm doing that, and also just just promoting Welsh hip hop culture and rap culture and things like that.
That's great. Thank you very much, there, Kaptain. And we can move on now. It's over to TL. Oh, no, we've had TL, have we? No. TL. We want to hear from you, TL. TL is from Blak Records, which is based in Liverpool. And TL, could you tell us as much about yourself and all the things you're doing?
My name's TL first as a rapper, but I grew up with the hip hop coming to me like when I was a b-boy as a kid. In Liverpool, it was either football, boxing, or breakdancing. So when we were all kids, we'd go and compete in town in a place called a stage. So that was my first love of hip hop culture, was through the dance side. But I carried on being a rapper from a rapper at 91. I started. I was in a group called Order and Chaos. Then I was in a band called a live hip hop band like The Roots called Band the Loop. Then I joined Children of the Damned, and we first released Tourette's Camp, and then Cult of the Damned, and then I had solo albums out, solo EPs, and then I've been featured on a load of the Cult of the Damned albums. So I've been like in the scene since, I'd say as a rapper since 91, but through hip hop is from the early 80s. But then I've also done workshops like Kaptain. I've been doing workshops in schools. I've done young offenders places. I'm also a business partner with Nikki Blaze, who's not here today. She's not well, but we have Liverpool Hip Hop Festival, and we're doing workshops, we're doing events. Nikki does fashion shows based around hip hop, and then we're looking to do an outside festival next year in Liverpool, as well as the B-Boy event that we've all been talking about, and again in Liverpool. So we've already got our location. So I'm just hip hop, basically, lived and breathed it since I can remember, and I'm still promoting it and hopefully engaging young people to celebrate through hip hop.
Okay, thank you very much there, TL. A whole lot of knowledge here today. Now we're going to move over to Monk. I'm just going to play a clip from the actual event that happened in Leeds about 2 weeks ago, which Monk put together. And then we'll talk to Monk, and Monk will be able to explain to us all about what he's doing and the purpose and, what's going to happen next. Here's
this is a journey into hip-hop. Going out to the hardcore hip-hop. Welcome to Jamdom, where people are dead at random. Political violence.
How can you call people to hang out windows and watch trains riders, man? You gotta write, you gotta do the action, man. You gotta go out there, rack up. You gotta go out and paint.
Okay, as you can see, we had a great time down in Leeds with the Hip Hop Historian Society. Monk, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Excuse
Monk,
the background noise because I'm sat in a cafe.
Okay, Monk, could you tell us all about the Hip Hop Historian Society, its purpose, its reason, and what it's all about, please?
Yeah, the Hip Hop Historian Society was set up, I think, around 2017 in the... You can hear music. I don't know why I've got music. Can everyone else hear that music coming through?
I can hear it, but you're very clear, don't worry.
Okay, cool. Oh, it's supposed to be there. Okay, so basically, yeah, we set up in 2017, and the purpose was to document and archive the Leeds hip hop history, basically the story of hip hop. Originally, I started in 2003 with the whole idea, the conception of this idea. To pull together and tell the story of individuals in the Leeds city centre. Well, not city centre, but right across the city and wider, like surrounding areas like Bradford, Huddersfield, Halifax, Wakefield, York. So there's quite a few local towns to Leeds, and basically just to tell that story and give people the platform to tell their stories and have their legacies documented. And I started about 2014 with the Universal Zulu Nation. We set up a kind of relationship with the local museum. So Leeds City Museum basically hosted our events every year, and we put on an event for history every year since 2014. And it basically has, it comprises of workshops, events for lots of young people and adults alike in every element of hip hop, including production as well, because a lot of time producers get left out of that, I feel. We also have lots of live performances from established artists to young artists that are coming up. And we have Q&A sessions. We've had some quite big famous people come through when we've had funding. But when we haven't had funding, we've made it work really well, and the local community's really pulled together to the point that we've gotten to this, where we are now, and we've had this exhibition, which is an 8-month exhibition, started in July and ends 24th of March this year. And we're going to have a couple more events before the ending. But yeah, we're looking for a permanent place to be putting our exhibition, or parts of it. Most of it's on loan from private loaners, you know, like people of the local community. And we've also been looking at working with everybody who's on this call, really, and Troy Harewood, who is running the UK Hip Hop Museum, and you know, that we can all pull together, and even with Manchester, Liverpool, Wales, Birmingham, you know, we've been looking at all right across the map, really, to be Hull, Sheffield, looking for people to get on board, and so we can all unite and help to build a story that hasn't really been told right across the UK. A lot of the time we might see it coming from the capital, but yeah, I think people's stories, this was going on in every city, so it's very important. So that's what the Hip Hop Historian Society is doing, is giving a voice to those that are not really heard, and also the platform to those who have been heard.
Okay, Monk, I'd just like to ask a question. How come this Hip Hop Historian Society is not happening in other cities? Why did you start it in Leeds? Is it because you just live there, or is this something you'd like to see all of the other cities around the UK doing, or are you looking for one unified source?
Well, I've started obviously with Leeds because I'm familiar with Leeds more so than anywhere else. So I've been a part of this community since 1986. I moved here in 1986, and yeah, that being that I've gotten to know this community very well. So obviously you need somebody who does know the background of that city to be able to help tell that story, narrate, and talk to the right people within the city. So that's why it's not everywhere else, because it started here for me to do what I can do, basically. And also I'm looking at people kind of pulling together right across the UK, hip hop historian societies everywhere, to be able to tell those stories.
Now, just before we go on to
Did I
everyone
answer
else,
that question?
yes, you did. Just before we go on to everyone else and touch base with them, you touched on the Hip Hop Museum. We was hoping that Troy would have been here to tell us a little bit more about that. Can you tell everyone about the UK Hip Hop Museum? Because we know that one has just happened in Americas, or is it New York? So I believe that Troy is working with Curtis Blow in starting one here in the UK. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that and how it's going to tie into the Hip Hop Historian Society?
Yeah, basically, I can't really tell you too much because obviously it'd be better for Troy to represent at maybe another meeting another time. But the one thing is that I do know that obviously he's teamed up with Curtis Blow to set up a UK hip hop museum, which means that we all get included into that. And essentially, that is their thing. But we will be contributing towards the collections from different cities to make sure that the UK does get represented fully.
Okay.
On one city, i.e., London.
Okay. Oh, sorry, you broke up there. Okay. Thanks very much for that, Monk. Okay, I've got a few questions I'd like to ask you guys and the ladies as well. What do you believe to be the difference to what we call the hip hop culture today and the old school hip hop culture back in the day when we got into it? Now, this question, I'll start with Kaptain. Can you answer that question for me?
Yeah, I mean, back in our day, we had very limited streams of information, so we kind of got given hip hop as a whole package, because by a limited amount of people, we had a few television programs. In the late 80s, we had Hip Hop Connection, but before that, we were all getting our sources from the same thing, so we all had a clear idea of what hip hop was. And of course, then you hit then the elements kind of split apart as we go into the 90s. And here in the UK, obviously, we had things like the rave scene that took a lot of people, and in the late 90s, you kind of had their elements coming back together. But then in the 2000s, you had, of course, the internet, and with that comes multiple streams of things. You have different identities, different people really creating their own identities out of a larger palette. So and you have hip hop going into more and more subgenres. So like nowadays, someone might listen to trap only, and to them that's hip hop. I've spoken to a lot of kids nowadays, and to them grime is hip hop, whereas to my generation, not at all. It's got a completely different history and culture. But to the kids like who are just coming up, they just see it all as rap, which they've been told comes from hip hop. So to them, it's all the same thing. So it's just that multiple streams of information coming in, so people are creating their own identities from different palettes. So yeah, I mean, it's quite confusing, but it's also exciting at the same time.
Okay, I'd like to ask the same question to D-Shy. D-Shy, would you like to elaborate on that? Do you want to push your camera down a little bit more so we can see you? Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm just standing. I was chilling. For me now, I'm coming back from the 90s. Me, I grew up on that hip hop. And what I'm feeling now is completely different.
Oh, we're having trouble hearing you there, D. Sorry, we're not hearing you. Is your microphone up?
Yeah, microphones are completely different. Regarding videos, back in the day, let's take from a woman's perspective, there were very few women hitting that margin and getting through to the hip hop industry. It was very, Big Daddy Kane, all of them guys. Those were the ones that used to like, that was the hype then. KRS-One, Wu-Tang, all them. That was flavor to me. Like when I play it to young kids now, they're like, "What is that?" And you're trying to say, "Look, now this me." To them, just like the gentleman said, it's the trap music, drum and bass back in the day, all of that. It's changed. It's really changed from there, and I just want the essence of the that brings life, that brings skill, that brings the deliverance of, back in the days it was your skill, your tempo, gymnastics with your lyrical contents. Now they still got it, but at the same time, there's a lot of disrespecting to women in the videos as well, and that was coming up through the 90s. So to me, it's changed a lot. But if we can bring the collaboration back and make it not uniform, but bring everyone's talent and gift to the table. See
Okay, thank you very much for that, D. The same question to TL. Can you hear me, TL? TL?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, yeah. You were the same question to you, TL. What's your response to that question?
Yeah, I think for me, growing up with like in the 90s and listening to the quality of MCs coming out, like the golden age, and I think there was levels for being an artist, and there was so much like great artists who come with their own flavour and their own styles. So when you was an MC, you had to come with your own thing. Do you know what I mean? That's what I get from the old school / golden age. It's like, excuse me, you had to stand out. You had to be really good at what you did, and other rappers inspire. When you're listening to like the top rappers of the top tier, they'd inspire you. And I think we've got that today still. Like in the ground circles, there's MCs who just set levels for their MCs. But my thing was like in the UK is like accents. Before grime came, there was a lot of it was always like London heavy MCs. Now I think there was a scene when people started accepting Manchester accents, Liverpool accents, different accents coming in hip hop. But as soon as grime came, it come back to London accents. So I think what's happening is like now anything goes. You can be from anywhere, and you just got to be good at what you do. Whereas back then, I think you had to sort of. I think doors weren't opened if you weren't from London, basically. But I think it's all good now. I think there's positivity right now. You can be from anywhere now. It doesn't matter. You make a good song, you make a good track, you make a good album, you're accepted. But I think it was a little bit harder back in the day for northern artists to actually try and get through, unless you went down to London to actually be an artist down there. For me personally, is like our record was set up in Liverpool, but now it's based down in London because the majority of artists are all down there. So it's still a thing of you have to go down south to get a bit bigger. But I think it's all generations. As I've got something from it, but because I teach as well, I see the next generation of kids listening to all these artists, and even in that there's levels. There's like not really good MCs in it, but there's a lot of top like tier MCs in grime, in drill. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about levels and accepting it all, really.
Okay, thank you very much for that, TL. And the same question to you, Sabi. What's your take on that?
Well, I've been involved in for the past 30 years in the industry, and I've seen a huge evolution of hip hop. Because I started off as a music promoter and DJ and doing mostly old school, inspired by Grandmaster Flash, the Beastie Boys, and a lot of the 1970 generation of hip hop artists. What I've seen, like, is a decline of morality in the hip hop industry, because hip hop started off as a street voice, like a rebellion, like inspiring young people to get the freedom in America. Then it went around the world. But slowly, as time passed in the 90s, it became, degrading towards women, and not giving women, making women like objects, bringing the drug influence in, bringing the violence influence in. So they took it, the industry, the executives have taken it away from the grassroots level into more of like a, like towards like degrading women and guns and drugs and all that. And now, it's evolved from that into like subgenres like, drill, like baseline, and it's still got the element of like disrespect towards the women. Again, the knife crime, the gun crime related to all the subgenres. And my concern is now mostly is the AI being involved in it. I like hip hop to be natural, with your vocals and your voice and your talent. But now we've got the element of AI getting involved, which is going to make it really, really not authentic, to my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and a lot of the youngsters, like I know we've got great talent in UK, every artist which is coming out, they're using some form of technology, which is like, auto-tuning it, using AI to do the voices and, like trying to like cheat the system and everything, I would prefer, it's like I've got my son who's a rapper, he's 21. I've got, some relatives which are into music, and I'm trying to educate them with the old school hip hop. I thought this is how we started off, and like the new generation, we need to like keep the foundations of the old hip hop intact to move forward. We can't just jump on, bass line, drum and bass, okay, it's good for the new generation, but we cannot get rid of the foundation of hip hop. I'm seeing deterioration, of the foundation of hip hop break down in these past 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we need to, promote the grassroots levels, through what you guys are already doing through workshops, through community-based projects. I think that has to be essential, that has to be a grassroots level, and to educate people that, look, hip-hop didn't start off with drum and bass line, or drill. It started off many years ago as a social revolution. So I think that's what a lot of the youngsters are missing out at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Sab. We've got someone who's connected by the name of Gavin, but they haven't connected with a camera, so it could be a risk putting them in here, but they may have a question. So I'm going to add this person called Gavin to the stage and see who they are. Let me see what's happening here. No, I cannot add him. So I'm sorry, Gavin, but I think we might be a bit limited here to get you on. But let's move on a little bit here. Now, KRS-One once said, "Rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live." A very well-known phrase, as well known as the Rakim phrase. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. But I'd like to stick to the, rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. Mm-hmm. Now, in today's decade of, rap or hip hop, how much of the kids do you think recognize or understand that, rap is something you do and hip hop is something they should be living? Do you think that message is getting to the kids, or do you think they've totally ignored the what you live element and is just focusing on the rap? This question goes to Monk.
Yeah, I think the mainstream industry of obviously they hold the rap game, and hip hop is basically what we are doing. We're living, we're breathing, and we're educating, and we're giving back. So I've always felt like, just looking back at the other question you was talking about a second ago as well, is that it's always been an underground thing. Hip hop as a movement has always been an underground thing, a grassroots thing, as Sabi was saying. And the fact is that we've been doing this from the ground up, and on that level, the street level. And again, the difference I think happens is that the industry have taken and packaged this in a different way to make money. And obviously they've taken advantage of people and things that people are, talking about in their music. People are talking about in their music to make money. Not so much that it's from their heart, it's for the chart. Yeah, so that's where I feel it goes, and therefore hip hop culture has always been alive and always will be. It will stay that way. There will be new generations that slightly rhyme different patterns, might have slightly different rhythms that they're rhyming over. We came from the reggae, into the hip hop. Then you had hip house, and there was many styles. You had what do you call it? What was it called now? What Two Live Crew was doing? What was that? Miami bass. Right?
Miami bass.
There's always
Miami
been
bass.
Yeah, there's always been these little offshoots, and the thing is, hip hop's remained the same all the way through from the core. The outer exterior of it is the fact that there are lots of sub genres that come from it. A lot of people that don't understand the culture and how we live the culture, and really that's all about really giving back and educating and uplifting the community. It's always been a positive thing. That's how it came. It came out of a need, really, for savior. And when you look at the foundations of it, that's and going back to like care.
Oh, we seem to have. You still there, Monk? We seem to have lost you there.
I am still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Have you lost my picture? Oh, yeah, my connection's not too good, is it? You can hear me. Sorry. So yeah, I'm just saying that I think, and with the people in this meeting here, everybody is living hip hop and giving back to their communities, and therefore hip hop's very much alive, and it's still the same, and it always will be the same. There will be lots of other little bits and bats that add on to the wheel that's already been invented. Like we're all continuing that motion of the vehicle. That's what I feel hip hop is. Don't know if I actually answered the question properly, but yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, you did. Thank you very much. You did, and I'd like to ask Kaptain the same question.
Remind me of the question. Sorry.
There's a difference between the statement what KRS once said: "Rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live." We want to know if the kids of today have grasped both of those statements, or are they just sort of looking towards one, which is primarily that of rap?
I think hip hop means a million different things to different people. By now it's just a word or two words that kind of encapsulate a lot of different things. Now we've chosen what we want to take from it, and a lot of us have the same things that we've taken from it because we grew up at the same time, and we're obviously we're trying to push a positive agenda, so there's all of these different stories that come from hip hop and from the people involved in hip hop. There's all of these different stories, and I guess our job really is to try and push the values that we took from it onto a younger generation, or not to push, but to open them up to them, to allow them to see that side of it rather than just the negative, So I don't think that they see it in the same way as we see it at all. But at the same time, I think that anybody can be open to those values and those ideas. I see a lot of young people now, like some who only listen to 90s hip hop. There's like teenagers who only listen to 90s hip hop. So they're looking to do that, not just for the musical thing, but because they're looking for something else. They're looking for those values that they're not finding in a lot of modern music. So, so yeah, again, it means a different thing, but I think a lot of young people are still seeing a lot of good values coming from hip hop culture.
Okay, that's great. We just had a question come in from a gentleman called Wayne Faris. I'm not sure if you guys can see the comments here on the page. But he says, what is the opinion in the different styles of sounds of the East versus West Coast hip hop culture influence? I'm more East Coast flavor because to me, it had more of a funkier get down swag that I tend to seek out when I'm in hip hop mode. So that's coming from Wayne Faris. Anybody would like to answer that question?
Yeah, go on, man.
Yeah, I think that's preferences of styles. Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry, I was saying I think that's preferences of styles, isn't it? And so therefore, when it comes to, you know, like the East Coast, West Coast, whether it be Midwest, whether it be South, you know, like, you know, whether it's UK, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, you know, that style, they're different styles. Hip hop is hip hop throughout. Doesn't matter which style it is in or where it's located. I think that's my personal point on it.
Dee, do you want to respond on that one for Wayne Forrest?
I'm just gonna go for the tail end of that. It's about the South, and you know, people back in the days it was, you know, Big Daddy came because of the sweet and the style of the sound. Some people may like to listen to Snoop Dogg. It's more slow, rapid, chilled down. Just everyone's perfectly different, but all bring to the table, and that's how I'm gonna look at it. Hip hop is something that we enjoy, we like to get down to and jam. Whether the children are actually doing that, whether rap is something that they do and hip hop is something that they live. Hip hop's a culture, and the days it was you'd look after each other, yeah. And what we're portraying now is as the youth of today, it's been for a while very negative. Back in the days, it was positive, and the struggle was real. The struggle is still real now, but it's more intensified to them. But it's not a quick thing. Hip hop artists back then trying to get through was not a quick thing. So it took time. It took maturity as an individual, as an artist, and to what can I say? Embrace the culture of hip hop, embrace the different changes, embrace think about the music industry, not just when you say about rap is what we do, we have to understand the music industry as well. You know, younger generation are probably understanding the music industry more now because of technology. But for me, I love the whole style of it. As I say, we lived and breathed it, breakdancing, all that. This is a platform for people to unite, to come together, and to give their points and have their voice, so people can listen. And let's see where this hip hop, the vehicle, takes us, because it will open different avenues. And some people that never listened to hip hop, but was listening to hip hop with a reggae bass in it, you know, reggae line in it, say, oh, so there was a hip hop sound, and I think I'm gonna there. But
Okay, no worries. Thank you very much for that, Dee. Same question over to TL. TL, what's your thoughts on that, to answer the question of the gentleman there, Wayne Forrest? Can you hear me there, TL? Your microphone's off. I'll put you back on.
Come on. Yeah. The East Coast for me is like obviously the grittier beats and stuff, and where I come from with New York and all that, and you know the likes of Organised Confusion, the Naz's, everything, like the best music coming from the East Coast, because that's where it started, of course. But for me as an artist as well, like the West Coast style is they brought their own thing. So like MCs like Razcast, Souls of Mischief, Hieroglyphics, Del Funk, Homo Sapien. The people from the West Coast brought their own elements to it, the way they, you know what I mean? They brought their flavour of rap, and I think I like both. I can't be just like I'm all East Coast, because that's what I was into first. You know, for me, it's like, again, the West Coast reminds me of like they've got that flair of the French. When you have French hip hop, it's got an extra little flair to it. It's got a nice something different to it. I think that when you get them underground West Coast artists, that's what they bring to hip hop, which is interesting. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of it all, but obviously I grew up with the East Coast first.
Just one quick thing to add, which wasn't in the script. If you've noticed what's happened to hip hop in the United States, where there's been several different styles that's come about, whereas in the UK, we haven't got that much variation. For example, you have the style of the LA, the West Coast style, you got New York style, you got the Dirty South style, you got the Miami style. With the UK, there hasn't been much variation. It's just UK rap. Would you agree to that, or can you see a difference in style across the UK?
I think what happened in the UK is as soon as we started moving away from that, pretty much like a grittier copy of the East Coast sound. Like as soon as we started moving away from that, then people started losing the term hip hop, and it just became UK rap. So if you include UK rap as hip hop, then we've got loads of different styles. But when you use the term hip hop, we're kind of attached to America, whereas if you don't, then we're not. Does that make sense? So there was a UK hip hop sound, I guess, that was quite similar amongst everybody. Not you had loads of different sounds within that. Even in Wales, we had lots of different sounds. You know, nobody sounded the same in the 2000s. But it was all essentially boom bappy, you know. But then in the 2000s, then what happened is you had grime come from the garage scene. Then you had road rap, which was essentially like an offshoot of New York hip hop that was happening in the 2000s. But it was they by then they didn't want to use the term hip hop, and people within hip hop didn't want them to use hip hop either. They were like, no, you're something different, you know. But essentially, it is hip hop.
There is one thing I'd like to add to this, which is very different in this generation of what the kids are doing. I've seen more variation of the music form than when we were doing it back in the day. For example, the grime and you know, and the what do you call it, rap. I've seen a lot of different variations, and they're easy to identify. Whereas in America, it's easy to identify Miami bass because of the rolling kick drum and stuff. And then you can identify the dirty South because of the way it all sounds sort of slow and it doubles up and whichever else. The East Coast have got their hard street sampled elements, and LA has got that P-funk element, right? Very easy to define the different music formats. When we started, I'll say in the 80s, coming on 90s and mid 90s, there wasn't that much variation in the music form. Possibly in the raps, yes, but none in the music. But what's happening today with the kids, what I can see is a very clear difference in different styles of music. Would anybody like to touch on that? Sab, would you like to touch on that?
I would. Hip hop's always been eclectic. Like that's how it started, you know. All the original hip hop DJs, it was about the drums. It was about the drum breaks but they were getting that from all over. So you had, you know, like I think now, if electro came out now, like we don't call electro hip hop at all. To us, electro now comes under like techno. We don't class it as hip hop. But if you're in the early 80s, electro's hip hop. But it was very different to what came after it. And I think it's always just been about the drums, really, isn't it? You know,
and how it's put together. Sab, I'll give you your take on that. What do you want to say?
You know, I want to go back to the original question as well. The way, like, I've been involved with both East Coast and the West Coast artists, you know, and also with UK artists as well. And to be honest with you, like, everybody's the new generation, they're choosing their own variations now. They're selecting their own variations. Like I lived in New York back in 1999. I used to do events in New York, in Manhattan, and I find New York much more progressive hip hop, because you know, like, you know, everybody wants to be a rapper there. You know, everybody's doing beat battles. You know, while in LA, I've been there, like, you know, many times. And they're more relaxed, you know what I mean? Because Los Angeles is 50% Mexican. You know, they found their own roots with reggaeton. They're blending hip-hop with reggaeton now at the moment, you know? They're diversing it big time. When it comes to the UK hip-hop and everything, the way I see it, the kids here, they don't have much education in the hip-hop industry. The reason why, it's like when Social Crew came out back in the days, the way I see it, there was a lot of element of racism in the music industry, and the police have been trying to clamp down with a lot of, you know, garage events back in the days, you know, and that way the children, you know, the kids, they didn't take much knowledge of the history of hip hop and everything, you know. So again, my perspective is, you know, the youngsters, right, need to know more about the hip hop, the foundations. Like my son's 21, and I, he's seen my pictures. A lot of the old school artists, like with Eric Sermon, Redman, Method. They don't know who they are. So I had to get like A to Z of hip hop for my kids to learn how we started off. I said, look, this is the foundation of who we are, and like I'm not sure if my answers, blending in with your question, but it's the link of hip hop, original hip hop, is finished since the early 2000s to what is now. Like nowadays you get rappers with tattoos on their faces. I'm not against Tekashi 6ix9ine or any of these, people. You know what I mean? Like with tattoos and rapping hate on rapping guns and degrading women. But I blame the record labels for commercializing a lot of this rubbish, and a lot of I'm not saying rubbish, because it's damaged the hip hop industry big time. It's taken to different routes. And I've spoke to many when I was in New York just back in September. I spoke to a lot of the youngsters there, and I go, look, this is how we started off, and they go, no, we want to effing learn this. So they've got no clue how hip hop came from the 1970s generation, which was you're fighting against black rights. Using music as a tool to push their voices forward. They've got no idea with that. So my perspective is like, again, we need to like educate the youngsters on grassroots again. Where it's all started from. But like I said, there's a lot of element of racism in the music industry in Britain, where they don't allow black people to come forward with their hip hop to promote it. They mostly using, the record labels in the UK are mostly for the pop market. They're not for the hip hop industry. So anywhere you go in the clubs or the bar here, it's mostly they play American commercial hip hop. You don't hardly see them play UK hip hop. So I think there needs to be a balance here.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Seb. Yeah. In terms of you touched on a point there of the racism and discrimination.
Yeah.
Would you also say, and I'm going to let D-Shy answer this question, that there is an element of discrimination against females in hip hop? There's a lot of female rappers out there, and I just wanted to get Dee's take on what her thoughts was in and around the females in hip hop. There was I think it was a Netflix documentary or program which focused on female hip hop. I guess you all saw that, right?
Mm.
Yeah, it had Latifah in there and MC Light and all the others.
Mm-hmm.
Dee, can you give us a little bit?
I was disgusted on that. But anyway, go on, sorry.
Okay, Dee, could you give us a little bit of insight? Speak as loud as you can, and tell us what you think about the situation with the females in hip hop and how they're treated in comparison to the male in hip hop.
I mean, there is a large amount of us, but to get through that door, imagine now you're performing at a festival, right? There is probably 5 women artists that are going to perform. The rest are men, and I'm not giving no discrimination against men, but I just think it'd be nice as a whole team to support women, help get them through the door. Because for me, my journey was hard, and I know there's many great and wonderful artists out there, female artists that are struggling too. You'll get the ones that will get through because they know, okay, say you featured with Stormzy or I don't know, Shaggy and stuff like that. It's because I know somebody. But you've got to work so hard just to get to where you are. I mean, I've been in the game 2 years, and I've done a lot of stuff, but still, are you recognized for your talent or what you deliver in the industry as a female? And then we come back to our women being discriminated. Are they treated fairly in the music industry? Do we know enough about the music industry ourselves to want to represent ourselves as an individual? The answer to that is probably no, because as you climb higher, it's run by pure men. I'm not saying that's a bad or, you know, horrible thing. I'm just saying, as a woman now, we need to get recognized. We need to get through those doors as well, but treated equal and fair and not a sex object, you know, just to get, you know, oh, we want you to show a bit more cleavage. We want you to wear the skirt short. No, I'm going to sell myself like that because one, I don't want to put something up there in the music industry that I'm going to regret later in life when I have my children's children. Do you get me? And they say, you see Nanny up there, you know, on the video doing her thing. It's something that when you put it out there, it's for life unless you decide to take it down. So as a woman, as a representing for many of the queens, we need to be respected as a woman and seen for the gift that we have and what we can deliver in the music industry. And there's a big pie. Just give us a little bit more of the pie and let us know what you guys are experiencing. And what you guys are experiencing, it looks fantastic. And we just want to be able to say, yeah, you know, we'll support any man that's out there doing their thing. But let them support us too.
Thank you very much for that, Dee. Same question. I think Monk wanted to say something on this. Monk?
Yeah, definitely. I think what Shadi said, definitely this is within every industry that whether women are being treated equally or not. That's always a major issue. But one thing with hip hop is how many females is there to how many males there are interested in this. If you go to R&B, it would be the opposite way round. There'd be less men involved. Not saying that they'd be treated like how women are treated trying to get into whatever industry it might be. I'm not trying to compare that, but what I'm saying is sometimes I think people get a little bit misconstrued and think that, oh, women are underrepresented, but it's not that. It's not very many women are actually, in comparison to how many men are actually MCing or b-boying. There's still a platform there. And do you know, one thing I would say as well is the utmost respect. All the men that I know that love hip hop, they'll be loving off Roxanne Shante. They'll be loving off El Boogie. You know, like you've got all these MCs that have come through. It's just like powerful Queen Latifah, all of, you know, and Moni Love. I don't know any men that are discriminatory towards them. In the industry now, like Shadi just said, very different, because somebody who wants to give success to a man, they will only give success to the man if they know, right, we can make money. But they might give success to a woman if she's going to do some certain things and be seen as, like you said, a sexual object and all these kind of things. This is what you're up against generally in life. When you go for a job, it's very different for a man to go for a job. If we're just talking on, let's say you go on Facebook and you set up a Facebook account and you're more likely to get men hitting on you rather than I set up a Facebook account. I haven't got women in my inbox trying to hit me up. And I'm not saying that no women like me, but what I'm saying is, you know, you get what I'm saying. It's a very different world for women than it is for men. In general. But the one thing that documentary you mentioned, I was really appalled, because when I was watching it, yes, this is what some women are doing to get into the industry. There's a lot of men doing certain things to get into the industry too. And then I was thinking, they mentioned, I had to stop watching it. They mentioned Lauryn Hill for like such a little tiny fraction of, and I'm like, wait a minute, Lauryn Hill's like, she's one of the best MCs, full stop, done. I'm not talking about male, female, whatever, anybody. She is one of the greatest of all time, I think. That's in my personal opinion. I dare you to contest it. But the thing is, what on earth was that? Why was she not being pushed in there? And what they were pushing in there was a lot of that, you know, those that are kind of shaped by the immoralities of the people that control the industry. You know, and that goes right across the board to all the negativity that we hear in our music. The people are rapping what they're being told to rap. You know, hip hop was not about gangster. It was not about taking drugs. It was not about disrespecting women. It wasn't about that. it was only about that when money came into the game and the industry took over, and they saw they could take advantage. And then you had NWA come in and all that. And although NWA had some really positive stuff, you know, but when you look at it, it was really quite a negative world they was living in and talking about. But that was definitely, I believe, you know, part of the demise of hip hop, the culture, in a sense, where it turned into this. There was this gangster rap, and again, it's a style, but it got misconstrued with hip hop. And as Kaptain said earlier, you know, everybody has their own mind of what they feel. We all seem to be on the same page of what hip hop is. That's because, for me personally, I believe that that's what hip hop is. But rap is an element, and that's it becomes whatever the industry shape it to be. But yeah, sorry.
You may have seen on the screen that's just popped up. We got a person by the name of DMW Wids. Can you see that?
DMW. Yes, DMW. DMW Wiles it is. It's DMW.
Oh, Wiles.
That's right. Mouthworks. That's the beatboxer from Leeds. Incredible.
Right. Okay. So I'll just read his question. He says, "What are your thoughts on when some people say white people and guests in hip hop? I think he meant our guests in hip hop. Even though we know it's universal and know where it came from, should guests be even used as when it comes to white people into hip hop, and choose a specific element or elements to represent in?" That's from DMW. Now, it looks as if Monk knows DMW, so I'll let Monk respond to that question.
He will already know my opinion on these things, but yeah, with regards to that, I'm not a visitor in here. I live this more than most people. I'm going to say that straight up, and I'm a very humble man. But I will stand up and hold my, you know, I'll stand in. I've got my stance on this, you know. I hold my square. Do you know what I mean? I'm straight. You can't take me away from this. So basically, I've never visited this. I am not a guest. I am here. I'm here to stay. I've worked hard for what I do in my community and what I believe hip hop is, and I stick with the true element of hip hop. But I do see that when they say people are guests, you've got to understand who are the owners, right? Who are the owners of what we're calling hip hop? Are we calling rap music hip hop? And who are the owners of that? Who are telling us what to rhyme and what not to, and how to degrade our communities and our people and drag our people? And when I say our people, yeah, again, we can all talk about this, yeah, but understanding that every single one of us are African, yeah, understanding that every single one of us have African DNA. It doesn't matter who. If you have no knowledge of self, then you would not have knowledge of that. And the thing is, yes, we have cultural differences. Everybody does, right across. So somebody from Jamaica is going to have differences from somebody that's all the way out in, I don't know, let's say Nigeria, and there's going to be similarities. We all have more similarities than we have dissimilarities, if you like. We need to start learning to embrace that. Why it would ever even come down to that, the whole so-called race thing, because we're being taught that there's all these different races. In actual fact, there's one race, it's the human race, and I'm not trying to belittle anybody's thoughts on that. You can have your own personal perception of it, but if you've been controlled by these people that are controlling everything, every narrative that you think and feel, right, is true, that's their plan. Their plan is to keep us divided and keep us down, keep us fighting each other, keep us looking at these differences and wanting to destroy one another. But then even when you get even deeper into it, you start looking at, let's say, for example, the so-called Black community. What happens when somebody's successful in your community? Do people drag them back down? Is it like crabs in a barrel? Do you get that experience? It's like, so it's really nothing to do with this. We think it is because we're conditioned to believe that it is. But yeah, that's my personal thing is, I've seen all the arguments going on online with Latino, Hispanic and Black and Jamaican. The people are saying that Jamaica's got nothing to do with hip hop. That's a lie, But yeah, full stop. So, straight up lie.
Okay.
They discredit me. I've got no place to say this because I'm white. whatever that is. You know, this is people's own insecurities. Your insecurities that have been dealt to you by the system. And if you want to embrace that and be part of the system that you hate, you claim you hate, and you want to enforce the stereotypes and lies that they portray on us, then go ahead. But yeah, I don't believe that white people are any kind of... I do believe that there's certain people at the key top that are the owners, and yes, they happen to be white, yeah? And those people now, that's a different kettle of fish right there. And I'm not even going to get into it because I see now Kanye's gotten his thing and all the rest of it. And we can see what's going on right now in the world and people getting cancelled for talking the truth. The truth is the truth. It's not every person, so-called person, that's, you know, that he described, but it is something that's going on in the industry. It's controlled by certain people. And Ice Cube's talking about it now as well. So yeah, there's some issues, but they do happen to come across as European of descent. And are they visitors or are they the plantation owners? That's what I got to say. They own something, and they're making people do what they don't want to do. Sorry there, Monk.
There's one thing I'd like to also mention. To me, the term urban is a swear word. I absolutely hate that word, but it seems like the industry is trying to group everything that is being created with hip hop, R&B, soul, funk, jazz, and just throw it into one genre called urban. And then the worst thing happens is that an artist who is classed, it's not necessarily their fault, but an artist that has been put into that same box called urban gets a music award, and people are like, what the hell? They're not hip hop. What the hell? They're not soul. What the hell? They ain't jazz. So who's to blame for this this new term they call urban, the urban awards, the urban charts, the urban. I'll give that question to TL. What do you want to say about that? Oh, your mic's up, TL. Let me put it back on for you.
Yeah, I think it threw into a box, and it's not fair because it's, you know, it should be, if it's jazz, if it's hip hop, if it's blues, it should be just labeled for what it is. You can't just throw everything in one box. It's not right, because then it's just, no, I don't agree with it. Do you know what I mean? That's my personal take on it. It shouldn't be called urban at all. It should be called what it is.
True. Captain, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I've never liked the term, to be honest with you. Like, nowadays it's really hard to categorize things, so I get it. I get why people use it, and like we said earlier, people use different beats to jump on. So it's like, are they hip hop? Are they this or are they that? So I know a lot of young people who actually use the term urban to describe their music. In Wales, we have a big problem with that because most of our rappers don't come from anywhere urban. We've got, you know, most of them come from the middle of the countryside somewhere. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really like the term. The term came from people having an issue with calling it black music. That's why people came with the term urban. But no, I'm not a fan.
Well, it is what it is, and if it is black music, nothing wrong with calling it black music. Sabi, how about the fusion of the Bhangra music and hip hop? Because I know you had something to do with that.
You know, like 25 years ago, you know, like people like myself, Bobby Friction from BBC Asian Network and Nihal, we started off the British Asian fusion scene, you know, where we were behind the development of Punjabi MC. We developed Apache Indian, you know, so we kind of set the trend. We were the pioneers of the British Asian fusion scene because the British Asians here, they wanted to experiment with hip hop music. They wanted, you know, to try out black music in the Indian Bollywood scene, and we gave them, you know, something to live on, you know, which expanded, like we took Punjabi MC's Night Rider track with Jay-Z, you know, and so, you know, that just came into a different route altogether, in a different line altogether, and I think it's been a good thing because the Asian people in UK, which were born here, you know, like they wanted to connect the roots, the Asian roots, with Western music, and we couldn't find any better way to do with black music, hip hop, bring hip hop in cooperation with Asian roots, you know, and we trying to like incorporate with Bollywood with a lot of pop music as well, and a lot of house music. We experimented with a lot of techno music back in the early 90s and everything, you know. So I think, you know, like we were the trendsetters to a lot of the artists that you see now from the British Asian scene, you know, like, and I think it's been a good thing because like I go to Los Angeles a lot, and they've done the same thing with the hip hop music, with a lot of Latino music, reggaeton. They created artists like Daddy Yankee, Becky G, and all them lot, you know. So my intake is like, you know, hip hop is like an element that should be experimented with different genres of music. You know, it should be diverse because people always see hip hop as you know, like black music.
Oh,
You
you still there,
I mean, like,
Tabby? Oh.
yeah, I'm here. It's like when I was promoting a lot of shows, hip hop shows with Keith Murray, Eric Sermon, doing a lot of hip hop gigs in UK tours with the Redman and Method Man. You know, I was being called a culture vulture by a lot of the black community. You know, and they say, "Oh, you're a culture vulture, and you know, like you're trying to live off our music." And I said, "No, like I'm trying to bring in artists. You know, I'm from America, where you know nobody's got the money to bring them in. You know, I was spending like 100,000-200,000 pounds on shows, bringing them in, touring them in UK, giving opportunity to a lot of black artists from the UK to go on stage with them, to give them a chance to promote themselves. You know, so I said, look, you know, like if I was a culture vulture, you know what I mean, I won't be doing this, you know what I mean? I'll be just keeping my own community on the stage, not just, not black people, you know? So, you know, my intake in this, you know, like people like myself, you know what I mean, which are very, like, you know, multicultural, very, equality-based, you know, pushing this element of hip-hop out in different forms is helping the community to unite it with hip hop music. You know, it's helping people to learn more about hip hop. And you know, like the gentleman said, you know, the white people are guests in the hip hop industry. They're not guests. You know, like the biggest hip hop artist is Eminem. You know, and he's white. And if he was a guest, I don't think so. He would be staying long with Dr. Dre's label. And you know, he's been an inspirational role model to a lot of black people. Sorry, a lot of white people to get into hip hop industry. And not only that, Skinny Man, who's from Leeds originally, I've known him for like nearly 30 years, and he's a white kid and lovely guy. Me and him used to do shows together back in the early 90s, and you know, like we promoted that diversity. You know what I mean, bringing in white people and teaching them about the black hip hop music. You know.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Sab, now I've got a question here, but before I go into that question, I'm going to come with another question. You can still hear me, right? The question that I have is, it's been partially discussed a little bit, but I think it needs to be answered a little bit, or more clarity put to what it actually means. And this question is, in the USA, many hip-hop rap artists we've seen have this argument about who started what, who owns what, and where it all began. I've seen a similar argument brewing in the UK. What will you guys do differently, or should I say Monk and what's his name, Troy, when they do the museum, what will you guys do differently to avoid this argument snowballing into something as big as what's been happening in the US? And that goes to Monk.
Yes, can you hear me? Cool.
I can,
yeah, I think that basically this needs to be put out right across the country for people to get involved in. Who started what and where and when hasn't really been a problem in Leeds. I mean, undisputably, we've got our, if you like, so-called godfather of rap in Leeds is MC Daddy Speedo, and also Junior Patterson, which he's very open wrote his very first lyrics for him, which is another brother from Leeds, and they came out of the sound system. So they came out of reggae music. So for Leeds, it definitely did come from there. But the thing is that every city's got its own story to tell, and I think that it's not going to be such a problem for each city to tell their own personal story. When it comes together, people have already been saying which was the first record, because for the UK, it's not who started this, it's who, like you can see who was the first release that came out, who was doing certain things first, who's on what posters. It's not an issue as like it is in America, because the issue is for America is that who started this culture? We own this culture. It's me. I'm responsible for this. No, he is. He was there first. You know, all of that. I've seen a lot of that going on. It's really sad to see that, because people should be able to say, yeah, my man was doing his thing, same time as I was doing mine, but mine was more notable because it ended up getting this and that happened, and the media attraction and blah blah, and we got spoke about, or more people had more access to where I was at. There's loads of explanations, and people, the ego, right? And I'm not saying not to have an ego, because ego is to be healthy as well, you know. But the thing is, the ego is what's destroying people, right? It destroys them, it destroys everybody else, but it's destroying our culture, because it means that when we're documenting this and we're putting this down, and especially in America's case, I don't think this will happen in the UK. UK is a very small island when you think about it, in terms of, you know, in comparison. So it's like a state, really, isn't it? So for America now, I think if they keep on doing this, what they're doing is they're smashing our foundations. The foundations of Cool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, Universal Zulu Nation, all of this, and all the other pioneers that came through as well, that are written, like KRS-One has written a lot of these people up in the gospel of hip hop. You know, Grandmaster Flowers. You've got when you go back to, let me just think now, DJ Smokey, Smokatrons, all of this. There's people that was there. I mean, I know that DJ Smokey and Smokatrons, I was told well over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, by Almighty KG from the Cold Crush Brothers. He explained to me that he went to a party when he was 7 years old, and he was saying that you know, that it was DJ Smokey's party, and that was in 1971, and he said he was pulling the record back and forth. People were b-boying, and it was all because he was at school and he saw his friend who was b-boying. I think he was at school, sorry, don't quote me. But he saw his friend breaking. He was asking, yo, what's that? And his friend said, yo, I can take you to a place. Took him down to this party. And he said, guess who Smokey's record boy was? Who was carrying his boxes for him? And this guy was scratching back then. DJ Grandmaster Flash was his record boy from what? And this is coming from other pioneers that saying they were there and they saw this. They said, they don't want us talking. Now, that's not to take any credit from Grandmaster Flash, because Grandmaster Flash is absolutely incredible, and another, you know, legendary person, icon within the hip hop culture, and he played a very big role in being a part of what we have today and what we all are on the same page about. Yeah, but there are other stories. Like, we've all been inspired by somebody somewhere, somehow. Now we can all, you know, like when you talk to, let's say, for Africa Bambaataa, for example, you know, I know he's going to go back to the funk references. He's going to talk about Sly and the Family Stone. He's going to talk about James Brown. Where did James Brown get his inspiration? Where did Sly and the Family Stone get his inspiration from? It always continuously goes back and back and back. And also, hip hop is taken from absolutely everything. And then going back to what Sabi was saying, it's taken from everything. So, and it's taken from everything to become what it was, and it's giving back to everything. And that's what I think is the beautiful thing about this, you know. But anyway, I'll leave it there.
Okay, well, quick one. D, what's your take on that same question? You want me to say the question again?
Say the question again, because I was just listening hard.
Okay. Well, the question was basically, in a nutshell, there's a lot of arguments at the moment about who started what, who owns what, and where hip hop began, and all that stuff. What can we do in the UK to not fall within that same trap or argument? Question to you there, Dee. What can you say about it?
Well, what can I say about the UK? Does it matter? It matters where it starts. It's the journey on where it's going and how we're going to be influencers in this. Yeah. Do you want to be, as I say, showstoppers, influencers? Let's be good influencers in this. Let's not carry the old pattern of being, territorial about who started what, who had what, that's mine. I have finger pointing. Let's embrace everyone and say, you know what? Get the color. The color doesn't come into it. You know, music is a culture. Music is something that brings unity in communities together. So therefore now, you know, if someone comes to a reggae dance, they don't have to be black. Someone, it's a very narrative mindset on that. So I think personally, I don't think UK will have that so much because, you know, America, they started it, different mentality. You may get some mentality like that, but let's not go there to the people who are running this and who are in charge of sailing this. Let's try and think of another format how to deal with it in a way of not ego. Let no egos get into this because, you know, can be tripping on their ego and saying, you know what, I did this, I did that. But it takes a team. We're all here on this platform for a reason because we are interested on how and what the next generation and how they are in the music industry. So, yeah.
I see Monk raising his hand there. Monk, you want to say something?
Yeah, that's perfect, MCD Shy. I think that's exactly what it is, and the way that I feel like we've managed to do this successfully in Leeds with this exhibition that's currently running until 24th of March next year. I think that how we've done that is the fact that we've included absolutely everybody, and it's in no particular order, trying to put anybody above anybody. But this is the problem. What, you know, various places will have in the UK is because of these egos that feel that they have the right to. But at the end of the day, really, if they're responsible enough, they should understand that we need to be pulling everybody up. That's what hip hop's about. Opening up a platform for everybody to express.
Yeah.
Okay, Captain, you want to come in on that same question?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I prefer hip hop as like a culture of community rather than a cult personality. You know, a lot of those stories that are lost from the early days is no one came up on their own. You know, they were building sound systems with lots of different people. You had different DJs. You had, you know, all the people that you have with the sound system. Now, a sound system is a perfect example of a small community working together to make something happen. And that's kind of been lost, that history. You know, nobody came up on their own. They all had their crews around them. And for me, it's about highlighting that. And yes, you're going to have some people stand out. We all want main characters in our narratives. But when it comes to history as well, if there's no receipts, you can't trust anybody. And sometimes even if there are receipts, you know, we've all seen the Cool Herc invite from 73 that was a fake. You know, sometimes even if you see the receipts, they're not real. But yeah, you know, we've had arguments already with Mike Collecting. People are saying, "Oh, I did this before them." I don't really care. I don't really care who came first. You know, it's like if there's a disagreement, then say there's a disagreement. If you have to include a date, then include both sides. Say, well, this person says this and this person says that. You don't have to choose. You know.
Well, the one thing I just like.
You don't need to take a side.
Sorry there, Captain, to butt in. TL, is there anything that you'd like to say on that question?
Yeah, we've done our like our timeline hip hop banner in Liverpool, and as an artist myself in Liverpool, I know my place. I know where I sit in the timeline of Liverpool's hip hop, and I know who came before me, and who's now, and who's the future. So it's humbling yourself as an artist and having the respect to actually document whether you like somebody or not. You document them because it's facts. They were there first. They did this. They did that. So on one of our events we did with Nicky Blaze in the Arts Gallery, we brought out Liverpool's first rapper, which was Muhammad Khalil, aka Eugene Lang. He had been rapping since 1971. So we got him up to do a performance, and he was made up to be respected by us because he's one of our elders in the hip hop scene. And you got to be able to do that and get everyone engaged. It's not about like for us who came first. It's just when did you do what you did? Where did you fit into this? And then we can all celebrate all of each other. It's not about the ego. For me personally, it's just putting the facts down so the next generation. Every time we do an event, the next generation come and look at our banner and go, "Oh, who's that?" And then we can tell we've got stories based on. We can educate the kids by saying that person there did this, they did that then. You know what I mean? And if once we start thinking like that, I think as a community, the egos come out the window because we had one person, naming no names, and competition's healthy and all that. But then when this person's come into the museum, they've seen their name on our banner 4 times, and they were humbled because it's like let your ego go, mate. Look, you're there. Everyone we're putting you on the platform and giving you all the respect that you deserve. You know what I mean? And I think if once we can communicate a little bit better and let the ego go, maybe we can get this positive thing for our cities and our communities to say, look, this is what we've done for hip hop. Not just hip hop though. It goes deeper, doesn't it? So yeah.
Well, the one thing I'd like to say when I'm really happy. The one thing I'd like to say that I'm really happy about is the Hip Hop Historian Society, and I don't know how big it's going to get, but what's nice about this is that there's going to be a central place where everyone throughout the UK can document their part in the hip hop culture in the UK. That has never happened before. We've always relied on what we've seen. The BBC, is a London-based television channel. They split it up previously to BBC Midlands and BBC Yorkshire and BBC Scotland and whichever else. But BBC London has always dominated. Whatever they say, whatever they do, is the be-all and end-all. What's nice about what's happening here today with Monk's Hip Hop Historian Society is that it's going to be a place where everyone, Wales, Scotland, Glasgow, Ireland, and whichever else, can document and contribute their piece to this beautiful culture. And everyone can see that what so-and-so was doing in London in 19 so-so, Joe Bloggs was doing the same in Glasgow at the same time. And Birmingham was doing that at the same time. And so was Cardiff, and so was Liverpool, and blah, blah, blah. So everyone will be able to see that it wasn't just happening in one place. It was happening throughout the whole of the UK. And all of those people that will be documenting what they've got to document will have all been contributors, equal contributors, just as much as the people in London, in Manchester, in Birmingham, in Scotland, and in Wales. So no one is above anyone. No one should think that they're above anyone. Just because one person or the other person may have been fortunate enough to come out or to release product on a major label does not mean that they are above anyone. Joe Bloggs could have been putting out demo tapes way before, but never reached the major label. That's not to say that he's not relevant. He's just as relevant as the guy who got #1 to the guy who only made the top 30. The fact that he was there, and contributing is all that matters. Sorry there, Captain, you want to say something?
I was just going to say, it does get tricky though, because there's so many people, who then do you pull out? Who do you use as your main characters? Because you can't include everybody because there's just too many people. And that's where it becomes tricky. So yeah, it's about how you tell the story as well. Again, I think it comes back to, you don't have to tell the story with main characters. It helps. It's easier. You don't have to. You can just pull out anybody. And so one thing that we're doing with the exhibition here hopefully I'm still building what the narratives are, is concentrating on kind of what it means to people and what people get from it, and like all of these different things, rather than trying to tell history, trying to give people a feel for what the culture is, you know, and why it's important and why it's been important for Wales as well. Because a lot of people don't realize it's been here since the early 80s. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, when everybody else was rapping in American accents, we had Welsh language rap. You know, 1986 was the first Welsh language hip hop record. And it's like, you know, a lot of people don't realize this. So for us, it's not necessarily about saying who did what, who did where, but it's about just giving a general vibe of like, this is hip hop. This is what you've had in your country for ages, and you haven't been paying attention. So look.
Okay, well, I just want to say one more thing. People forget that hip hop, or should I say rap, is a skill and an art. Monk, for example, does a lot of sculptures, and he creates these sculptures from pottery and stuff. And you look at the end, you look at the start, and it's just a ball of clay, and then you look at the end result, and it's something superb. But nobody has the right to tell him how he's going to create what he's going to create. In the same way with hip hop, no one has the right to tell someone that has a general interest in hip hop or rap how to rap, why they should be rapping, or what they should be rapping about, or what they should represent. It's an expression and a feeling that everyone has to respect, because there's so many different forms of expression in music that has to be respected. So when somebody says, oh, your rhyming sounds like this, or you sound like this, or blah, 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 it's none of their business. If what you do makes someone happy, then you have expressed what makes you happy. And all you're doing is sharing the love. And that's all it's about. And no one has the right to tell you that you should sound a particular way, speak in a particular way, or do anything to do with hip hop in a particular way. It's expression, and it's an art form. That's all it is. Disha wants to say something there.
Even quickly, and you've wrapped that beautiful, and it's about what you have inside of you that is going to deliver to the people. And one of us on this platform have got something different to give. I'm going to relate it to food because I love food. Yeah, it could be bland, it can be spicy, it can be hot, Scotch bonnet, right? One of us are going to deliver something different. And you know what? There's a saying: you do all the presentation on the table, and somebody's going to pick what they like on that table. Some vegetarians, some are vegans, some love meat. Yeah, it's a style of music, and whatever the artist is going to deliver, it's what that gift inside of them that they're going to deliver. So it doesn't matter how it comes, what the sound, whether you're from Liverpool, you're Scottish and you're a rapper, you're Jamaican, you got a rapper, and you're London, you're from Birmingham, you have, you're American. Does it really matter of the accent? It's the people and the industry that have made that. So really, sure, we should all really embrace what the gifts that everyone's got, because as the teacher, you're going to teach everything and the knowledge that you have to the children, and create the work, the teaching workshops, because it's important to you to deliver to the youth, and each individual is going to have a story. So I think it's important that we deliver that story and deliver it well to the best that we can, with the help of others who have gone through and do know the knowledge. And let us not be afraid to ask, you know what, I'm not too sure about that. Can you help me? Because that's what it's about. Everyone has strengths in different areas. So let's utilize that and use that and stay tight as a unity and a community.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you very much for that. Now, I have just one more thing to say before we bring this to a close. We need to let everyone out there know how they can reach out to the likes of Monk and anyone else that is contributing to this hip hop thing we call hip hop. So first and foremost, let's go around the table. I'll start with you, TL. TL, once again, can you tell everyone about Blak Records and how to reach you and how they can, get involved in what you're doing?
Yeah, you can get onto blakrecords.com, get any releases. It's not just me as an artist, there's loads of us from all different areas, Liverpool, Manchester, London. So check out the website and have a listen. If you like it, buy it, support it. If you want to link with myself and Nicky Blaze, you can get on Liverpool Hip Hop Festival on Instagram, also Bro Tony on Instagram for any future events or workshops that we'll be doing. We also have a recording studio with Liverpool Hip Hop Festival, which we'll be doing workshops for young people. Free studio time, and basically I'll be doing some new music with Nicky and hopefully releasing it next year.
Okay, so just in case you didn't catch that, if you look on your screen, have I spelled it right there, TL? Is it BLAHRECORDS.com? That's Blak Records. Check out my man TL on Blak Records, phenomenal rapper, and representing Liverpool there. He's been doing it for some time, and
sorry to cut you. The artist name on Blak Records, TL's my first rap name, but my artist name on Blak Records is Tony Broke.
Tony Broke, and he's rich in culture.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Tony Broke on Blak Records. If you need to reach out to Tony, just reach out to Tony. We all in the same gang here, and and just follow Tony and just interact and anything else you can. So that's Tony right there. Now with D-Shy, could you tell us a little bit about yourself there, and let everybody know how they can interact with you?
Okay, you can interact with me on every digital platform, Facebook, which is MCDWSHY, or through the website, which is my record label, Digital Jukebox. You can go to their Instagram. Also, the music is also on YouTube and any every digital platform that you can reach out to. Also, listen out to the new tracks that are coming out in 2024. Some new exciting stuff coming out, and it's hip hop, and we're gonna go in hard as we can. You can catch me on any digital platform that you need to.
Okay, and just for those who are looking at the screen, you can see there that I spelled it right. D-Shy, it's DEESHY.com.
Yes,
not to be confused with Shy D. Shy D was a male rapper, and he was from, I think it was Miami or Florida, one of them places. And he did Rap Never Die and whichever else. But this is D-Shy, and D-Shy can be seen. Check out D-Shy on dshy.com, and you'll see releases. Some big things will be happening with D-Shy that she can't speak about right now in 2024. But like I said, just keep looking at the website, and you'll see some great things happening there with D-Shy. Next on the list is my man, Mr. Kaptain. Kaptain, could you tell us a little bit about how people can get in touch with you, interact with what you do, and contact you and so on, please? Kaptain, if you can let us know.
Yeah, definitely. So that's my name, Kaptain, Kaptin, Barrett. And that's how you find me. If you just look on Facebook or Instagram or captainbarrett.com or captainbarrett@gmail.com, like that's how you find me. I'm easy to find. And go and check out some Welsh rap music, some Welsh hip hop, some Welsh b-boys, beatboxers, graffiti artists. We've got them all. There's some really talented artists here. So yeah, check them out.
And just so you know, that's KAPTINBARRETT.com, and that's Kaptain Barrett, DJ up there in Wales. Yeah,
and it's the blog. If you go on the website, there's loads of different pages. Go on the blog, and that's where you find all the new stuff and like tips on the industry and all sorts of writing on different music.
Okay.
Oh, Spotify as well. Spotify, I'm all over it.
Okay. Okay, that's so that's Captain Barrett there, all the way from Wales, Cardiff side, making things happen over there. And coming up next, I'll leave you till last month. We're going over to Sabi. Sabi, could you give us a little bit of information as to how we can reach you? Sabi is a hip hop promoter, has been doing this for years. I keep saying Manchester, but this guy moves all over the place. So next time we probably speak to Sabi, will probably be in I don't know, Scotland. So Sabi, could you tell us how we can reach you and how we can interact with you and get on board with you?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I'm active on Instagram mostly as Sabi Khan Promoter. That is SABYKHAN Promoter, all one word. And on Facebook on Sabi Khan Media. So that's all one word on Facebook as well. So yeah, I mostly use these two platforms because most of my work comes from there, you know. So yeah, if you want to contact me in regards to anything from like media consultancy to, you know, hip hop events and concerts, just hit me up. That'd be good. Thank you.
Sabi, did you say Sabi as in SABKHAN promoter.com?
No, it's S for Sierra, A for Alpha, B for Bravo, Y for Yankee, and K for Kilo, H for Hotel, A for Alpha, N for November, and promoter. Sabi
.com,
yeah.
.com, right? .com?
No, that's on Instagram. That is, yeah.
What's your website?
But that is sabikhan.com, yeah. SABY, yeah. But that website's coming out in. It's under construction at the moment. There's going to be. I've uploaded more of my videos from my past events. That should be about mid-January, end of January. That, yeah.
Okay, so just to put it right, let me know if I spelled that right there, Sabi. We got SABY Khan Promoter on Instagram.
Correct, yeah. And
correct,
even if you go to Google search, just type my name in Sabi Khan Promoter, you see a lot of my media and newspaper articles from across the world with my events. So
okay, so that's Sabi Khan there. And now we'll move over to the man himself, the main man. Yes, that will be Monk himself. Monk, could you tell everyone how to get at you?
Don't know if I'm the main man, but anyway. and I think Sabi could get a job with the police, knowing all those, alpha business. I'm not going to spell it out like that. Anyways, yeah, you can get in touch with me through King Monk Studios, and that's on any of the platforms. King Monk Studios, one word, and also Hip Hop Historian Society. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and also we've got the websites as well. Both of them have websites, so you can find us up on there and get in touch.
Okay, I think I've just got to edit that, Monk. I put in Kim Monk. It should be King Monk.
King Monk.
King Monk. So I'm just putting that up again for everyone to see. So daisies, and that is.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah, that's King Monk Studios. You can find King Monk Studios. If you tap that into Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and all the rest of them, you will find King Monk. If you put him in Google, exactly stating, I spelled it wrong again, King Monk with a K-I-N-G, not Kim.
King Monk Studios with the S on the end, and then .com or on Instagram, Facebook, all of those things.
Yeah, and you'll find that. So that's Monk there. And, I just want to say how great it is to have these guys, speak about all the great things that they've done on my platform here on Blak Prophetz Facebook. We're going to have another one at some point, I'm sure. This was a UK State of Mind Part 1. I'm sure there'll be a Part 2. There's going to be another Hip Hop Historian Society event at the Leeds Museum, which I will definitely promote as much as I can on my social media as well, because I think it's a good thing and I think it's a positive thing. And maybe next time we can have others from around the UK speaking about their contributions and the things that they've done. during the 80s and 90s and 2000s eras of hip hop. If there's anything else that anyone would like to add, we've had a few Q&A sessions from people on Facebook, but let's see if there's anything else that the guys would like to say. Anyone, raise your hands if you'd like to add anything to this great meeting that we've had. TL?
Yeah, just basically, obviously Nikki's not here right now, but Nikki's she's also an artist in her own right. Nikki Blaze Art on Instagram. She's very creative, and she does the graffiti side of the workshops that we do. Again, just to remind you again, Liverpool Hip Hop Festival on Instagram, also Liverpool Hip Hop Fest at gmail.com. So anything to do with any future projects with our Liverpool Hip Hop Festival, you can email us there, or we also put events on. So eventually, if there's any artists who want to come and perform in Liverpool, you can email us and send us your tracks, and then, hopefully get you performing in Liverpool as well.
Great stuff. And anybody else would like to say anything? Anybody else? Are you all ready for tea? Ready for Sunday dinner? All right, that's what it is, all waiting for the Sunday dinner. Well, look, guys, I'd like to thank everyone that tuned in to the Black Prophetz show today, live on Facebook. I enjoy doing these, it's fun, and I'm sure next time we'll have other great people to contribute. It's going to be good to see what happens with the Hip Hop Historian Society. Maybe next time, when Troy's a lot better, we can get him on the show to talk more about the Hip Hop Museum, the works that he's doing with Curtis Blow, and we can have other people from all over. So thank you all. This is Black Prophetz saying thanks. One more thing I'd like to add, a very important person passed this week, Mr. Benjamin Zephaniah. I must say, highly respected gentleman here from Birmingham. I've always followed